Think it's too late to start over and change your life? That's me the year I turned 30. There would be a total of 4 psychiatric hospitalizations before I ended up in a coma and on life support. Recovery was tough, but I managed to stay upright, and at 33, I moved to Arizona to completely reset my life. I made my first vlog, but I was too embarrassed to publish it. So I kept trying and eventually made video a small part of my business. And at 39, I finally made it to Paris. Anxiety and panic attack included. 40 felt like it came out of nowhere. My 9-year relationship ended and I realized I wasn't going to have kids. Part of me actually believed that I didn't deserve to have them. So I packed up my things and moved into a small apartment to live by myself. I worked up the courage to publish my writing, and it ended up going viral in the most unexpected way. I'll get into that more later because I think it might help you. I began painting and even flew to the island of Guernsey to give a TEDx talk. From a Gen Xer to any of you starting to turn 40, trust me when I tell you that life is truly just beginning. Now at 50, it's time for a new chapter of reinvention. As you move through life, you realize the ceiling of what's considered old age keeps moving further and further up. You have a deeply complex mind that was designed to take you down the amazing path of a fulfilled life. Somewhere in youth, most people step in the way of that. As children, we are often censored, shamed, and taught to look outside of ourselves for validation that we are good enough or worthy of approval. We begin to change ourselves for fear of criticism and abandonment, and quickly learn to define our lives by ideals set by power figures. The problem is that as you follow guidelines and norms set outside of you, it's easy to lose a true sense of self. You quiet your inner voice and override it so often that you can lose trust in your own choices. This causes some of us to veer off our true path and into an upbringing spent pleasing and conforming to others. You may have chosen fields of study, careers, relationships, home sizes, types of cars, and even the way you dress based on other people's opinions. And one day, deep into adulthood, you wake up and think to yourself, this can't be all there is. That was last night, and I was done. This morning, I woke up with a migraine and spent the day in bed and on medication. Well, I've suffered from migraines most of my life. In my early 30s, I got control over them and got them down to 3 or 4 a year. That was until 2021, and I pretty much had a migraine every day since. So here I am in my hoodie. I'm not putting on any eyeshadow today. My nail polish is crumbling off, and that's the greatest thing about turning 50 is you realize what really matters in life, and it's none of that. So welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Erin Matlock, and I am a writer, I am an artist, and I'm a long-standing advisor to the mental health and brain health markets. Tell me if any of these sound like you. 1. Paralyzed by perfection, so you end up either stalling from any true action, or you run yourself into the ground working on things that will never get you to the freedom you want. 2. Struggling to make those big decisions because failure and self-doubt drown out the voice inside of you that knows exactly what to do next. Overstimulated by both a world that has gone mad and algorithms that want to keep you addicted, outraged, scared, and small. 4. You're feeling anxious, stressed out, or burnt out, which has led you to backing away from the people and activities and even beloved creative endeavors because you no longer have the time or energy or maybe even the money after these past few years. Or 5. You're addicted to work, games, shopping, booze, men, women, pleasing others, misery, social media, or the acknowledgement you get from checking off those achievement boxes. I'll go first so we all feel comfortable. At some point in my life, I've been some extent of all of those because I'm human. It is in these narrow stretches of life that you are being guided in to your greatest good. It is also when you will feel frustrated, defeated, angry, jealous, resentful, and scared. You may even lose faith that there exists any guidance at all because you cannot see with your own eyes which way to go. I get like this too. So I crawl into bed and I eat some carbs and I hang with my dog. And I know this for sure. If I keep getting up the next morning and I keep listening to that voice that is calling out, then I know I'm going to get closer and closer to my path. All that has been in your life was in preparation to cross a threshold where you can no longer return to your old self and where you can no longer see a predictable path. These thresholds are chapters, and if you're like me, you've come to another one, and they happen over and over again. When I was 44, I published a book of poetry. I wrote it all, I typeset it all, I did all the photography, designed the cover. Every last part of it was from my heart because I wanted that book to be intimate and I wanted it to be a conversation with a reader when they were going through some of the toughest things of their life. Now, at that time, poetry had been having a sort of resurgence in bookstores. But the poets who were selling were young, and they were very popular on social media, and I was neither of those. I just knew and I believed that if I put those words out there, and I trusted that they would get into the hands that needed to read them, that my work would be read. But I didn't sell millions of books like the others. And 5 years later, believing in that poetry, and one of those is in that painting behind me, a young woman by the name of Brianne Randall was growing her Instagram. And she's phenomenal at it. I am not. She's a complete stranger to me. And after 10 years of her own rejections of trying to become a published writer, she got a book deal. And part of the book deal is you need to grow your platform so that people will get excited about your book coming out. As she's growing her platform and getting ready for her book, she generously and graciously posted reels of my poetry over and over and over again. And each time she did, my poem received millions of views, something that I couldn't achieve on my own. And her book, The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic, became a New York Times bestseller. Because magic happens and dreams come true. Doesn't matter your age. Trust your work, whatever it is. Maybe you're not a writer. Maybe you want to audition for a play on Broadway. Maybe you want to be on TV. Maybe you want to go back to school and become a teacher, get your PhD, become a nurse. Any of it. Do it. Let it out of you. And now at the half-century mark, I am selling my things, downsizing, and moving back to Texas to live closer to my mom and dad. By the end of this year, they will both be in their 80s, and I'm no longer willing to miss all of the memories that I want to make with them. Midlife shakes us out of a long sleep, and the reckoning with a youth gone by can be so jarring that we pathologized it as an actual crisis. Then, as we move beyond the push for achievement and into the slow burn of elderhood, we're met with two distinct paths. One where we act our age and watch as our roles diminish and decide that it just might actually be too late to chase those foolish dreams. But the other path, it's what you've been preparing for your whole life. You now carry enough experience, enough devastation, and enough wisdom to understand what you've always held within you. In this journey is where your answers lie, and in this journey is where you finally find the hidden possibilities of your life. And those possibilities, they are not the size of your house, the kind of car you drive, or the shape of your physicality. My friend, they are the entire other half of you. Let them out. You are far more powerful than they have led you to believe. The takedowns and the knockdowns are preparing you. You're getting stronger, braver, wiser, and you're growing tired of the fray. You have chaos in your soul and lightning in your veins. You, my dear, were made for wild, magical things. If you have a minute, will you leave a comment about a time you started over? Maybe that's even right now. I'd love to know you.